Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is the Papa Joe Patreon show, I guess we could call it that. Andy still. Welcome to the show, y'all. Then welcome, Sharon. Thanks for being here. As always, we're going to have some fun tonight. We have a little bit of I don't know what you want to call it, squirrel it, but it's very jam packed. I don't know if we're gonna really squirrel it, but we always do it here. So welcome. How are you today?
I'm good. How about you?
I am fantastic. I am looking forward to this one. There's a lot of fun stuff. Try and tie some things in, calm some nerves of folks. At the same time, continue giving y'all some fun information. So yeah.
Absolutely.
So what is
Goodness.
a go ahead?
I said, goodness knows there's a lot of stuff flying around. It's like, let's make some sense of it. And we're going to hopefully start tying some of this together, like you said.
Yep. We are going to have some fun with it. So today we're going to start with one of the resolutions from documents we found to kind of give you guys some information around that. Is there anything you wanted to throw out ahead of time before I pull it up?
No, it's really, these documents are so intertwined with so much stuff that I don't know, the people that I've interacted with actually are like going through them and they're like, this is truth. And they're finding inner peace, which is interesting to hear.
For some people, yes.
They're like, okay, it's
Same
really going
thing.
to be okay.
Same thing. I had lunch today with a gentleman, and he's just like, "This is amazing stuff. It's scary. It's amazing. It's eye-opening. It's confusing." But it's really, really good stuff. So I'm glad you guys are liking it. We really are. We're really glad you're liking it. It's fun for us because we're learning at the same time, and we're like, "Hey, did y'all know this?" And we're able to connect the dots, which is really fun too. So
And this is really biblical.
there's a lot of fun stuff around it. It ties back to a lot of things. I'm still just kind of going, well, let's see what happens. I kind of know what I have a feeling what's going to happen, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, these documents I've always wondered how these documents kind of show us how, but anyhow, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. We're going to start with 25 tonight. One of the reasons I
Okay.
think we're going to start with there is it's a single image, which would beg the question of possibly, and there is a break here, but possibly it being some sort of scroll, maybe. I don't know, but we'll see. So, anyways, this was done January 13th, 2023. So this was this year. I don't
So if we can
remember.
make it a little larger for me. Nice. And
And that is about as big as I can get without it making the screen look funky.
this looks good. We can get there. So as we can
Sweet.
see, now they're starting to go into, we hereby express our respect to you and have the honor to state the following. So this is what it looks like when we have people who are here to be of service.
Yep.
Okay, International Treasury Monetary One is the owner and manager of the World Account with World Bank. So when people I've watched all over, there's so many out there that are just really, if it's clickbait, I don't know. It's like, oh, the largest banks. And so I'll just quietly make a comment going, those are not the largest banks.
No, by far. They're not.
No.
And y'all, I know we've got this behind the stupid Patreon thing, but I have had to rebuild the plumbing on this so that we could keep doing this. And as soon as I can figure out how to get some static connections with Rumble, I'm going to put it out there too. So just bear with us. But
We're
anyway,
trying
yep.
and we're working on ways to get some little snippets out on TikTok or wherever we can. But this is important. The World Bank, they hold this money in there and it's account number, and that's the account number. The C3AM01 is what
That's what
triggered
got
this
us into
whole
this. Yeah.
thing.
It's me and my engineering mind. I was like, wait a minute, is that a password or what? No, it pulled this whole thing up. There you
And
go. It was a password. It was the
it
key to
was
unlock this.
exactly distributed among various banks in countries around the world. Now, I really want to stress this. Distributed among various banks in countries around the world. This organization, these people, these beings are doing things and putting safeguards and stopgaps in place because they know the agenda of the evil ones, which we'll get in here. And y'all, this is game theory.
It
There's
is.
a
It
reason
is.
why they say God wins.
Yeah. Yes, and that is really cool stuff too. And if y'all feel interesting, you can go do some research in the World Bank and look at those account numbers and just see just how much money is in there. They show you in these documents. If you've gone through them. We've shared the link a few times. Look in the Telegram channel for the pinned the pinned links and stuff.
And
I think you put that in there.
Yeah, and in resolution number 4 is 4 or 5 pages of boxes, which are ancient bonds.
Yeah.
And bonds are not what you think they are. They're papers that have been created on you. So when you get a traffic ticket and you go to court, a bond is created for you.
Yep.
When you have something and they are buying and selling and trading your bonds.
What's interesting is that the whole court proceedings, it's a bank. It's just
It
like
is.
a bank. It is a bank. Anyhow.
And that's a whole nother episode. So we're going to try.
Yes.
This is why we squirrel off.
Yes. There we go.
So,
Right,
but it's important. Please, y'all. Yes, you're going to see some banks fall because they've already deemed the International Treasury Monetary One, the banks that are going away are so corrupt and polluted. And they chose not to play nice because God is a loving and kind God. But they did not play nice. And so, bye-bye.
He's also a jealous God and a justful God.
Mm-hmm.
He gives you ample time to. That's one of the whole thing, coolest part about salvation, you know. Salvation is a gift for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's your decision to choose it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And you have until you die to decide that. But once you die, the gospel is no more. You will meet your maker and you will meet your doom. Or your doom. I should say you will meet your outcome for the rest of eternity. Bodies we're inhabiting now, this is not our final home, y'all. You will go somewhere when you're done. When this body says, all right, I'm done. It's like a computer giving up the ghost. I'm done. Data's still there. The operating system's still there. Anyhow.
So it's really, and it goes on to say, we'll go back to the document here, as a reminder. So they're saying, we are reminding you, International Treasury Monetary One is the owner and manager of the World account in World Bank. And it goes into another account. And here again, this one is distributed among various banks in countries around the world. They're reminding you, they're expressing their respect and the honor. All right. So as a reminder, International Treasury Monetary One is the owner and manager of assets, including accounts under the names, and they list all the names. Now, this litany is redundant throughout these resolutions, and the litany does keep building. All right. And so we see Alpha and Omega's account and other accounts placed in various banks in 189 countries around the world. We are guided by previous resolutions and statements of the International Treasury Monetary One. So all of these build on each other. And what we're seeing here is they're reaffirming Resolution 1, and they're going through all of the names of these. So Resolution 1 is on overcoming the global financial crisis. Number 2, the only way out of the global financial crisis. Number 3, and then it goes on. Number 4, cancellation of historical assets to form a balanced new financial system. Number 4 is they were canceling all the boxes, which are bonds. And then somebody that I was talking with in my Thursday Night Woo group that I host, they're like, Alice in Chains, the man in the box. Yes, they have every living man, woman, and child in a box.
Which is a bond.
A bond.
That's crazy.
You are boxed in. Now that goes under the styles and stuff. So you are boxed in. You are a bond.
These are bond papers, technically.
Yes, they are.
Anyways, keep going.
Yeah, so we keep going here. So all of these build on each other, and we're starting to see how, and in some of these, they even say, all right, we've given you a chance. Now we have decided this is how it's going to go. And then what do the little minions see? Oh my God, there's this and this. It's like, oh, the mainstream media, that's the other side that's grabbing it and just wants to shake you from the inside out.
Yep.
So according to the world mission of the Sovereign International Treasury Monetary One, before the one God and the people of the world, the Sovereign International Treasury Monetary One, jointly with the international counter-terrorist and law enforcement agencies, including international and intelligence services, as well as specialized institutions in the fields of law and sociology, with the use of the specially created International Commission with the involvement of international courts, discovering the hidden information of this history, made a careful observation, study, analysis for the last millennium, Night of Svarg, also known as the Kali Yuga. Now, there's Jason Brashears goes into the Kali Yuga and what it is, and then they're saying,
I don't know what that is actually, which is
okay. That's the whole other thing. And they said the Kali Yuga, and it's going to be the Phoenix and all this other stuff. And I've got some information rolling in my head. If I am mistaken, somebody please correct us, because I'm trying to keep all of the stuff straight because it's really rolling out now fast and furious.
Yep.
But the Night of Svarg, the duration of which is scroll.
Oh, hang on. So I was gonna call out something here. Last millennium, that's 1,000 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Either these are not of this world, or they have been passing this information along generationally. Anyhow, go ahead.
Like I've shared with you, a lot of the stuff is oral and it goes down through generations. And if there is no one, then they find a trusted person within, much like the Codex Oralinda.
Yeah.
There's a lineage of which it's passed down.
Yeah.
So
the duration of which?
About 1,008 years, approximately the period from 988 to 1966 of the new era.
1996.
1996. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Of the new era. Conclusion and decision regarding historical, financial, legal platforms called trusts. Now, as I did a little digging, is that there's going to be, because some people are like, oh, well, and because Jason Brashears goes into how our timelines and this and this and this and this is off, and this is what the time really is. I kind of think that in these documents, remember when we did one, it said times, and times was plural. My hunch is that there were these different times, which were fragments that served a purpose, and that's why they included times. So these calendrics that seem really off are somehow all coordinated into this game, and we'll see that here as we get into this.
Interesting. So all the timelines. So everyone who's done any research in anything to Looking Glass, everything's converging to something, and it's kind of the same thing. It's like timelines converging, and you can see it all around. This is really a stupid way of looking at this, but growing up, if you wore shorts as a dude, you were like made fun of and ostracized and all kinds of stuff. You had to be cargo shorts, knee length shorts. Now you see it again. Our dads, my age group, whatever, and older, they wore shorts. It's just everything. You can see it. This is stupid little things like that. It's like we've gone back in time. But anyways, I digress.
No, and it is happening. So the thing is that there's different theories that they keep running these simulations because they're looking for an outcome, because they need God to come back so they can have, it's kind of like James Bond. I'm going to rule the world,
Yeah.
And they keep trying, and it's not going to work. Okay. So when I started looking at this 1996, I was like, this is interesting, because I don't know if y'all remember, but there was that photo op of the Bidens with the Carters.
Yeah.
Okay. And I looked at that and I went, oh my God, they're showing you the Alpha and Omega. Now I say Alpha because that's where these books come into play, which is the Trilateral Commission. Now that's when we talked about in our last episode, the word salad, the Trilateral, Tripatriot. Jimmy Carter was the start of that. Okay. So I looked, when was Jimmy Carter president? It was 1977. Then you had Reagan and Bush. that was their Hail Mary. The Trilateral Commission was the Hail Mary to try and get this whole New World Order to
we talked
happen.
about that last week and how they called that out specifically, that was not, they were revoking it basically.
Yeah, it's like, nope, done.
Yep.
So 1996 basically was the end of the Night of Savonag, the Kali Yuga. Okay.
Okay.
And so in 1977, and Reagan and all this, they were trying to get it going. And then you got Bush Jr., and there's theories that the Twin Towers, and then there's Building 6. Building 7, but Building...
Yeah,
people forgot about Building 6.
Forgot about all the buildings around there that got destroyed. There was a lot that got destroyed. And
now, in these documents, it talks about how the historical treasures have been moved about.
Okay, sorry, I've got a problem with my skin. It's irritating me tonight.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. Go ahead.
So it got moved about. So there's different things here now. These documents are bringing them together. So as we continue, so we have these things called trusts, which were illegally done. The fact is that the word trust means the trust of the Creator Ra in relation to someone, proceeding from the fact that man is an individual universe and mankind as a whole is a diverse universe in the macrocosm under the name of the world of Ra. Ra means the speech of God, the wave worlds, and the universe of reality, realm of the dead, and place of higher power. God is a sound.
Which we call sound, light, knowledge, enlightenment of knowledge, and the light of humanity. Wow. So when the God in the scripture, when the Lord says, let there be light, the verbal words spoke into being. That's crazy cool. All right.
Okay, can we see where this now? And so we got thrown off. Oh, Ra is the sun god. Blah, blah, blah. It was like, oh my God, okay. And even I, come on, I'm right here with y'all. When I say us or we, I'm including myself. In this. I mean,
this is something I'm going to look into myself. It's kind of like, because that's even in scripture that specifically references Ra. Anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, which we call sound. And I just really want to emphasize this.
It's frequency. It's frequency.
Sound. It's all
frequency. Light, knowledge. Knowledge is frequency.
Exactly. Enlightenment of knowledge. Light humanity on the earth is historically called the child of the race of the great race and the descendants of the heavenly race. That is the children of God Ra and the grandchildren of the Creator Ra.
And we were made in his image.
Ra.
That is what that means.
And it's just the sound. Ra.
Very interesting.
Based on the above, the light humanity is the direct descendant of the Creator Ra and the heir to the treasure of Ra. As the source of the golden ratio, this is important because that's a Fibonacci.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the earth and throughout the macroverse. Okay. There's the macro and the micro. One is a reflection of another. One's a hologram of another. The light humanity on the earth and all the light humanities on other earths are the only genus of the Creator Ra. Let that one sink in.
Yeah, right. No kidding.
Okay.
I've often... Okay, keep going. We'll scroll on that one.
Yeah.
Later.
So again, the light humanity on earth and all the light humanities on other earths are the only genus of the Creator Ra. On the last night of Svarog, the supreme God of the worlds of reveal. Okay, the worlds of reveal. Revelations is a revealing. Cliff High gets into that one.
Yep.
Participants in the game of the gods. Remember those posts that say think game theory? Okay.
This is all tying back to that too. And over the years, I thought I was crazy. This is like answering some of those questions. Go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, I've kind of been the canary in the coal mine for many years, and I just kind of shut up. But
I didn't really shut up. I kind of did shut
Yeah, we kind of did. It was like,
Eh.
okay.
Anyway,
And it wasn't time. God did not act it. It's like, no, God said, okay, kids, now. And here we are.
that's where we are now. Yeah. All right, keep going.
Participants in the game of the gods from hell. Now let's think about some of these games. Remember some of those early games, Diablo? Diablo,
Yeah.
okay.
I couldn't play that game. My spirit
Oh
cringed.
God, I know. I was like, I can't play this game. This
There's
is
a bunch
gross.
of different stuff I can't. I could never play those games because my spirit. I had friends who could play it, and I'm like, I couldn't be in the room. My spirit would just cringe, man. It's just I can play. I can play the first person shooter things because it's like paintball on the screen to me. It was like you're out.
Right, but now we got these games of like Ready Player One. So now we're seeing
that's very different.
That's
a whole other realm. Go ahead.
Oh
sorry.
yeah, no. All right, participants in the game of the gods from hell, led by the main lord of the hellish space of the last night of Sarog, Sabaoth, along with their hellish creatures and entities who were required to abide by the rules of God's games before the bright humanity, before the gods, before the god Ra, before the creator Ra, before all God, all creator one of the Almighty as all God the one, took advantage of the heavenly, high, legal norm under the name trust, thereby declaring the creator Ra's trust in the night of Svarog to the dark players of God's games. On the last night of Svarog, the most incredible, the most anti-moral, the most vile, the most perverted, where did we go?
Sorry.
Deception was conducted, led by the Lord Sabaoth, appointed by the main Lord from the side of hell against light humanity, against the gods, against the god Ra, against the creator Ra, and against all God, all creator one as almighty, all God, all creator, all God one, thereby violating the divine laws of creation and the rules of God's games. The dark players in the night of Zarog, having seized the light humanity by deceit and lies and established dominance over the bright humanity, over the descendants of the Almighty, criminally took advantage of the heavenly trust of the Creator called trust. In God we trust. They took and they twisted it. It was God's trust.
This is fascinating. Wow.
We remind you. So here, international, these people, these beings, we remind you that the word trust is a heavenly creation and a heavenly energy. Informational unit. What is blockchain?
Yep. It's a trustless system. Why would they be against it then?
Well, wait a minute, because because you just experienced it with somebody I thought was so very dear and gentle.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. It needs to be okay. This is almost said something. So the one of the projects you and I discussed and some things I'm working on, that's one of the things I want to add to it is that there's some sort of gatekeeping process. It's where nothing can get out into the wild without going through some sort of litmus test. I can't say that word. Litmus test. And certain criteria met before it can be allowed to be out in the wild. But once it's in the wild, it cannot be. It has to be left alone. It has to be free, fair, whatever, and anything that comes of it has to be treated as income if a taxation piece happens, if at all, and it cannot be capital gains. So I've said enough with that, but from those discussions, that is one thing I think needs to go in place, which would tie this, which would make that, which would set for, I don't know, maybe I'm got a seat at that table for that reason, for this reason. I don't know. I digress. We can continue.
Yes, we'll take care of that one later.
Yep.
So again, we remind you that the word trust is a heavenly creation and a heavenly energy, informational unit to which infernal beings and entities do not have do not have and will not have access. Infernal beings. That's not God's creation.
Nope, it's not.
Based on the foregoing, the Sovereign International Treasury Monetary One, together with the rules of light, international societies and organizations came to a firm realization and determination that during the last night of Svarog, approximately 1100 years, on the earth, there were not and could not be any trusts to the dark creatures and entities that carried out hostile and criminal actions in relation to the bright humanity. The only heavenly trust, which acted according to the divine laws of creations, acts and will act only in relation to the light human race on earth and to the light nature and the divine laws of creation.
This almost sounds angelic. Like archangel type angelic. Go ahead, keep going.
The Sovereign International Treasury Monetary One, performing a sacred mission and fulfilling a sacred duty to the bright humanity as one people of the world, by the right of the Supreme Sovereign, by the right of ownership of all the world assets, by the right of the main regulator of the world financial system, firmly confirms the divine laws of creation as the only possibility of existence. Life and prosperity on the earth in all that is existent and in all that is non-existent, in the all-existing, all-heavenly. The paradox. Democracy is the only form of social life and development in the whole world. All international norms of law, and that is a rabbit hole to really dig into. And
I haven't had time. That's gonna be that. I know the reason I haven't had time is because as soon as I open that one up, I'm gonna be gone for a month.
Yeah. Well, there's some things I can see that's going to be very helpful though for certain directions.
Okay.
Okay.
So if it's necessary, I could figure it out. That's just a really deep dive, and that's how I do things. Yeah.
All international norms of law are aimed at fulfilling the divine laws of creation, aimed at protecting. Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Nope, keep going. Keep going.
Aimed at protecting, rising, and light development of light humanity according to the example of the image of the Almighty God, male and female divine principles. So all this BS garbage.
It's supposed to divide and conquer.
And to get parents to mutilate their children.
This is part of the dark evil.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll keep my mouth shut on that too.
Yeah, I can't, because otherwise we're gonna probably get the show booted completely.
I'll be rebuilding it again.
So, female divine principle, protecting and strengthening the sacred image of the family. Look at what they've done to the family.
Started with World War One.
You know, oh, the little missus. You don't want to be home cooking for your family. You want to have, it's like, could I just be home baking bread and taking care of,
There's a reason why, it's funny you brought that up. There's a reason why guys my age and younger have turned into what's called passport bros, because they can't trust or find a wife here. They fly overseas and they're literally treated like kings, and then they want to treat the ladies like a queen, and like it's very different. And they're called passport bros because they fly overseas, find their wife, and either they stay there or they come back married. And it's not a joke. It's not like they do spend time getting to know each other back and forth, blah blah blah. It's not like a flip of a switch kind of thing. But the women overseas, elsewhere in the world, they want to be moms. They want to be stay-at-home people. They want to do that. The divine feminine. They embrace it. And here they don't. They just don't. They think they're better than a man. If a woman thinks that they're better than a man, then how in the world? What's the point of the man? In his eyes, if he's useless, what is he gonna? I mean, that's their whole mentality. I'm gonna leave that one alone from there, but at the same time, like,
No, it's the
That's
truth
true.
because there's even like for me, there's women that are like, where are some real men?
Yeah.
It was like, okay, so here we are. And yes, and because I love getting into stuff and my history of my grandmother, and she was so super talented
Hmm.
and she just enjoyed life. And
Hmm.
she wanted a man who would enjoy life with her. She's like, I want to have a family, but there's so much that we can show the family and the world.
Let's do it together. Exactly.
Exactly. And men are like, well, you need to be. And so it was this, I don't know
Yeah.
what happened to the US, but boy, oh boy, it's like these generations just got so
Something
messed
happened.
up.
And I think it has to
It's
do with this stuff.
exactly. And it was just like, all right, you know what? And I'm just the divine will take care of everything. But we're back to as we both digressed on
Sorry.
that one. Oh, sorry, guys. This is what we do. But and the image of the family in love and respect for children, the elderly in universal love, harmony, and prosperity with nature. Look what we've done to our elders.
Yeah. For
And the
real.
thing is that they're dehydrated, they're malnourished. Of course, they have mental issues because they're dehydrated and malnourished. They should be the queen mother that's there, or the queen or the king father that's there with the grandchildren. It's like, oh no, here, we'll kind of help. Everybody helping each other. And it's just like we have
Yep.
poison in our water, poison in our air, poison in our food. And then
Anything's gonna happen.
look what they're teaching. Oh, disrespect your elders. Oh, you can, I was like, you should thank the Lord that you got them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of history in there.
No kidding. I've been spending more time with my grandfather, just a whole bunch of fun stuff throughout. Fun stuff. I say that tongue in cheek,
Yeah.
but the opportunity is there now, and I've been doing as much as I possibly can. And the history and the stories and just the things passed down, like it is to be cherished. It is huge. It's a huge deal.
And this is going to be coming back. I do everything I can to encourage, turn the crap off. I was posting Telegram and so the sit rep. It's like, turn the shit off. It's shit.
Yep.
What is it doing? Is it enhancing your life in some way? Now, some of the stuff I always meditate, like when I'm doing the life coaching for people, because it's like, oh my gosh, they're coming in. It's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, where'd you hear this? So that I can kind of track them. But I'm always like meditating, prayer, whatever you want to call it, is like, all right, whatever it is I need to know, show me.
Sure. And
I leave
most
it
of the
at
time
that.
that you get an answer.
Mm-hmm. And so if I get directed like, here, take this in, it's like, okay, and then bum. But this stuff, this is like, wow, you can almost feel it. And I've had people like, you can really feel that this is profound stuff.
Yeah.
So as we continue, in pursuance of the all heavenly divine providence and the all heavenly great providence, on the basis of the foregoing, the Sovereign International Treasury Monetary One performing a sacred mission and fulfilling a sacred duty to bright humanity as one people of the world, by the right of the Supreme Sovereign, by the right of ownership of all the world assets, by the right of the main regulator, world financial system. Now we have to look at world assets. World assets. What did the Weffers want to do? Oh, well, it's all ours, and blah, blah. It's like you're gonna eat bugs and all this stuff. That's not God's plan.
You're gonna eat bugs. You're gonna own nothing, and you're gonna be happy. And I'm working on something to where that can virtually become impossible.
But
if
they're
it's
showing
allowed.
us that it's not good. It's already done. It's been handled.
Sure.
So now we have them where they say decides. They have now decided. Okay, guys. For the entire period of the last night of Svarog, approximately the last 1100 years. So we're seeing that an 1100 year happens to be a night. Remember, in God, there's no time. This is
I was
a
going to
night.
say he's outside of time. He holds time. Scripture describes God as that he holds the entire universe, not just Earth, the entire universe in the palm of his hand. And also describes how 1,000 years is a day and a day is 1,000 years. So if you put it into perspective, a single night is 1,100 years. Yeah, that makes sense.
This is lining up with the Bible. It's lining up with a lot of ancient texts.
The way things are, yeah.
So the last night is Svarog. To deprive of any kind of legal personality, okay? Legal personality. That's the name on your driver's license. The entity, fictitious entity that you are, legal personality, recognizes to out the divine laws of creation and outlaw the so-called under heaven trusts or false trusts.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay, so they're done.
Yep.
Immediately impose a complete ban on any capacity and any actions of the so-called under heavenly trusts or the false trusts.
Okay.
Now those go into the trust set up by the Warburgs,
Yeah.
the
Like
Rothschilds.
the ancient trust. Yeah. The trusts that are holding all this property and assets in them.
And they were seized illegally. Since the fact that the International Treasury Monetary One, now notice that it is not italicized here.
Yeah.
Since the fact that the International Treasury Monetary One, jointly with the Light Humanity and jointly with the Light Organizers, so now they're saying we are jointly organizations. They're all coming together, fulfilling the sacred mission of restoring justice and the light heavenly order in the world and in all spaces. Get this, all spaces have a fundamental legal heritage for all the world assets as a source of the formation of living space according to the golden ratio, do not need any unscrupulous intermediaries by the right of their original birth as descendants of the God Almighty and as descendants of their great ancestor, the Creator Ra. All eternally prohibits financial trusts. So all these financial trusts, and this is where I've been kind of sitting here just kind of thinking on this, as people are getting like with all this, America's assemblies, we got to get our private trust and our public trust. We got to get all these trusts set up because if we have a trust, then they can't get anything. And I was like,
I mean, they could seize the trusts.
Exactly. They can seize any trust because they are false trusts under God.
Which is interesting that they're using the word eternally prohibits. If y'all don't know what eternity is, you're going to find out. That's why I said earlier, Jesus died for everyone. It's a gift. It's for you to decide whether you want to accept it or not, because eternity is a long time. And there's two options later. And that's it.
Well, let's think about this. We had the movie They Live, where it's like, money is your God. So if you, and this is just me kind of extrapolating this out here. So if you're scrambling to put all of your assets and all your money in a trust, a false trust, you are no longer trusting God and his trust.
Interesting way to look at that.
Okay. Because God gave us dominion. We were stewards of his trust. We are the stewards of his trust. We are the stewards of everything he has blessed us with.
So how do people like us who have been placed in a box and been hamstrung, so to speak, to where we can't do that the way we're supposed to? Is there consequences for us for, I guess you could say, being naive, I guess, or ignorant to the fact that this is here? I wouldn't say ignorant. I would go as far as saying even nation, because ignorance implies the information's there and you're choosing to ignore it. That's what ignorance is. Whenever you have nations, you were unaware that the information was there in the first place, and you just legit didn't know. Like, that whole innocence is blitz. What's the whatever? You guys get what I'm trying to say. Like, how would you go in that scenario? What would are you just as guilty, or how?
Well, we have to look at that. We trusted. Okay, because
we didn't know that they did that.
We had no idea, and now this is deception. Remember, we were deceived.
Because now that I know, I don't trust.
I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So here I am thinking, I was going to set up these trusts and do all this. It was like, now that I'm reading this, I was like, no, this is what this means. And David Wynn Miller, in the middle somewhere of his 9-hour teaching on language, where he says, basically, I'm Neo and I broke the matrix. All those Smiths are all these different ways of speaking and doing all these things. And it keeps getting more and more confusing. He goes, and I broke the matrix. And so we've been told all these things and we're doing all these things and we're protecting our assets. And it's like, but do we trust God?
At the end of the day, people aren't doing that. Actually, it's funny. We had a sermon at church this past week about trusting God, not necessarily trusting, but not being anxious, and then not being anxious at the same time. Just I think it was Matthew chapter 6, where it discusses, not to worry. It says literally, do not worry. There's a whole section in there. Do not worry.
Mhm.
Read what it says.
Mhm.
It's
And this is just me, y'all.
This is a little divine for me.
Yeah, and as I've been reading and researching all these, and of course I've got businesses and whatnot, and I was caught up. Oh, we got to do the trust, and you got to do all this, and blah blah blah. And I was like, but something within me was just like, I'm just gonna wait. I'm just gonna wait. And
I've never even started down. I started researching this. I spent a couple of years researching different types of law for different things, for different various reasons. I've been reading contract law recently because I'm looking in business related. I want to make sure no one gets screwed. Not just me, but anyone I do stuff with.
Now that's being a good steward,
right? Just trying to learn. Not that the lawyers are going to right it wrong, but they went to law school and learned what they learned. But at the same time, just because I didn't go to law school doesn't mean I can't read the same text and be just as abreast to whatever they're saying. But at the end of the day, it's really just a knowing for myself kind of thing. And I forgot where I was going with that. Oh,
well, yeah.
I went down the path of studying the trust law and studying the different, things around that and all the different pieces, like David Windmiller and what's the other guys?
There's David Straight and Bobby Lawrence.
Yeah, those guys. And looking into their different things, and I'm kind of going, I really need to do this. And every time I've ever had that mentality, it's like God put all kinds of other stuff in my way. Like, okay, another example, Terra Luna. I was going to get into that. And then I just get this sinking feeling. I shouldn't touch it. Same thing with the other. I shouldn't touch it. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. So I don't. I haven't. I've learned about it. I know about it. And I'm just not touching it. Anyways, sorry.
Well, but that's what really this is all about. And, it'll be interesting to see, because we're supposed to have faith, to walk by faith, not by sight. And if you're so worried about your stuff, that means that you are attached to your stuff. God gave us a great vessel, but if you're attached to it, that's when people start, and it's like, no, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy this day that God gave me, and here we go. So what do we got here?
I'm just going to read this. Therefore, I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. It is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing. Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. You do not. Are you not of more value than they? And which of you by being anxious can add one single hour to the span of his life? And why are you anxious about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil or spin. They don't make their clothes. Yet I tell you, even Solomon, who is supposed to be the richest and most glorious man in the earth's history, in all of his glory, was not arrayed like one of these. But if God so clothes the grass of the field, which today is alive and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? Therefore, do not be anxious, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? For the Gentiles seek after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them all. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all of these things will be added to you. Therefore, do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. Sorry, I just felt like I was supposed to read that. There you go.
But that's the truth. And this is what they are really... It's almost like it took those words and now they're in this document, which will bring it to life. And that's how I see this, all these financial trusts. And because FDR created more trusts than you could shake a stick at.
Yep.
Okay. And that is in one of the books by Anthony Sutton, FDR and Wall Street and FDR. So that's this book right here. Okay.
Which I have that somewhere around here.
And so it really goes into all these trusts that they created. And we're finding out, no, bye-bye.
Yeah.
So,
no kidding. So we're here.
As we digress. Okay,
Yes.
Here we go. All financial valuable land and any other assets are subject to search, immediate blocking, confiscation, transfer to the balance of the Sovereign International Treasury Monetary One, and further distribution to the international programs for the social and economic development of the world according to the divine laws of creation.
Wasn't there an EO about that?
Pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, that one is on the Ingersoll Lockwood site, which, kids, we are going to get over there.
Yep, we'll get over there in a minute.
So, pursuant to the resolution, all international and country counterterrorism and legal organizations, all military organizations, to all actual orders, to all masters of the world systems, to all masters of the world financial system, to all international country control organizations, to all missionaries performing a mission before the one God, the all creator, bringing light and knowledge to the world, immediately start to implement this resolution in terms of its full implementation. Sovereign International Treasury Monetary One firmly confirms its statement and in all the future impartial and correct fulfillment, its light mission to restore justice and build an all light, all heavenly system, which should and will, in faith and truth, serve the bright humanity and therefore all God, all creator, all God Almighty, as the one all heavenly, all God, the all creator of all existing and all non existing in the creation of all light, all great, all heaven. And we have a bunch of seals.
That's intense. This is chat. This is 25. We had 26 and 24 we were going to do. You want to jump to those, or do you want to jump to Ingersoll Lockwood real quick? I can't say Ingersoll
Lockwood. Well, one of these actually pertains to Trump,
which is 26.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go ahead and read that one.
Okay, so we're going to get through this. So 26, make it a little larger for me, please.
This up. Yep, there you go.
There, we hereby express our respect. So you can see the litany now is really saying we express our respect. And we're going through these first couple of pages because now the litany is expanding.
It's adjusting.
Mm-hmm. So we'll scroll through. And we got all that. Here again, the litany is the same. They're going through, here's the same thing as they're adding to these resolutions because they want you to know how these are building one upon the other.
So this is 25. So there we go. So we're in 26 now.
We hereby state the following: Sovereign International Treasury Monetary One, jointly with professional international organizations, professional intelligence centers, and professional international analytics centers, conducting the sacred mission of preservation, development, and prosperity of bright humanity and our beloved Mother Nature, performing all necessary actions to overcome the world financial crisis and prevent the third nuclear war in order to preserve and strengthen the world, have conducted a global investigation using what? Yes.
We've only had one nuclear war. Not two.
The third world.
It says third world, nuclear world.
Well, this World War II, we had nukes in Japan.
So that's the only one that I know of. Mm-hmm. Is there another one sometime in history that we're not aware of?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I'm bringing that up. Sorry to derail for a second there, but things like that pop out sometimes. Third, we've only had one that involved nukes. The second one could be right around the corner in the history that we know of. Was there one that had to do with Tartaria disappearing? Mud floods?
Ooh, that would be interesting now, wouldn't
frequency?
It? Yes.
Nuclear frequency.
Ooh.
Anyhow.
In order to preserve and strengthen the world, have conducted a global investigation using professional research, verification, and analysis to identify global crime against God, nature, and bright humanity, declares the following. So now they're declaring. So here we go.
Sorry,
When you're ready.
I had a thing going off in my drawer there.
Until quite recently, it was completely clear to the entire human society on the earth that fascism in all of its forms, especially in an aggressive and bloody form, such as neo-fascism, is absolutely criminal and inadmissible for manifestation and any existence on our earth. The great country, sovereign union of Soviet Socialist republics, is a
Not the
multinational,
USSR the way you think it is. Anyways, go ahead.
and its multinational, great sovereign Soviet people, jointly with the allies of socialism in the struggle for the liberation. And people, we've been told socialism is something different than what they perceive it as. Now, remember, this is in their culture. All right. In the struggle for liberation, protection, and preservation of bright humanity on earth, won a great victory with a global misanthropic neo-fascism in the face of fascist Germany. Immediately after the great people's victory over anti-human fascism, an international and, in fact, the World Tribunal approved by the entire world community, which had no limitation period, known to the whole world as the Nuremberg trial, was hold.
Hold on. So you have the USSR,
Mm-hmm.
the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics,
Mm-hmm.
and them dealing with Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the concentration camps, Tartaria.
Mm-hmm.
That and Tartaria has disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
I'm connecting dots. Keep going.
Oh, this
I'm
document is
seeing some,
this
like,
one gets crazier in this
sorry,
one.
the Jews and everything. It's all like, I'm sure there were some Jews involved and whatnot, but like, what was
Let's get to that.
changed historically? Yeah. Anyways,
Let's
my
get
brain's
further
going.
along. Yeah, let's get further along in this document, and then it's going to make more sense to you. Where are we?
So Nuremberg
No,
trial
hold us,
was
hold us, no.
hold. Okay, right
No.
here.
Is it? Oh, as a result of the Nuremberg trial, fascism in any of its forms, especially neo-fascism, was banned in the world for eternity. And in the case of any form of fascism and any assistance to its manifestation in the world, it will be punished by the supreme punishment. As a result of the global investigation, it became clear that after the defeat in the Second World War, the unfinished enemies of humanity, with the help of the criminal society of the Jesuits, using the Institute for Religions in the Vatican Bank, in violation with the legal decision of the World Nuremberg trial, stole the financial assets which must be the subject to complete confiscation, and by funneling stolen criminal and bloody money, they moved it to the legal space of Argentina and Brazil. After waiting a bit,
Antarctica. Keep going.
okay. After waiting a bit, a particularly dangerous criminal neo-fascist group represented by the criminal organizations of the Jesuits and the Illuminati, created by them jointly with the Vatican and the Vatican Bank, began to move the stolen dirty money around the world, especially to Europe. With dirty criminal money, which was declared to be illegal for all eternity, neo-fascists in the guise of radical Zionists hastily and criminally started to buy factories and other means of production, and form well-known concerns today such as BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, and others. Neo-fascism again began to prepare a plan for the capture and further destruction of bright humanity using a form of radical Zionism. We are currently witnessing a division of Zionism into two categories. The first category is Orthodox Zionism. Okay, so now they're starting to split hairs here, and they're going to start calling some stuff out. This is going to be challenging for people to wrap their heads around.
So eat the chicken, leave the bone, whatever you want to call it. Just here we go.
Here we go. The first category is Orthodox Zionism, which is represented by elderly Jewish elders who advocate a generally agreed and peaceful development of a multinational society. The second category is Radical Zionism, dogmas of false anti-human dogmas, which by all means aims to man-killing actions in order to destroy humanity and nature. It can be firmly and reliably said that time has shown us that this criminal category of beings in a humanoid appearance, okay, a humanoid appearance, is unacceptable for existence in human society and on our earth. Okay. In the ancient scriptures of Judaism, it is written that the Jews do not have the right to have their own land and their own country until the second coming of the prophet Moses. Okay. Let's get through. So this is in violation of the base.
There's scripture missing there, or something's missing there. Something's missing. Keep going.
In violation of the basic precepts of their own religion, the Jews received the great gift from the great victor in the Second World War, the great and multinational Russian, the Soviet people of the country of the sovereign of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. The Bolsheviks took it and they murdered over 60 million Russians.
It wasn't the Jew. Wow.
There's a combination. So they're showing you here there's something that was more because they needed to get rid of the Slavic people. Now, that's going to be a cover. My hunch is we have a cover story going here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
they probably got rid of an entire political party. I mean, in the Bible, you saw that the scribes and the Pharisees, that's two separate political parties.
Mm-hmm. Sadducees, Pharisees, the whole all of them.
I wonder if it was the destruction or the removal of one or more of those political parties, so they could continue on the path that they wanted to go on. Probably the ones that actually adhered to the original scriptures. But anyhow, I digress.
Exactly. So the Soviet people of the country of the sovereign of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics,
Tartaria,
for the first time in the history of Jewry, for a long time to build their own Jewish state, which should be in peace and harmony with neighbors in other countries and nations and should exist and develop by the path of reason and light into the future. At the present time, we see what kind of gratitude the Zionists made to the Slavs, the Russian, and the entire Soviet people, organizing the capture of the sovereign country and arranging the genocide of their benefactors to this day.
Wow, so they're literally telling you historically things weren't quite accurate. Right there.
When they murdered the Tsar and Tsarina. Now, This is another book I have that clearly spells out, it's a reprint from the 1800s. Russia was the eastern vanguard of Christianity. The United States was to be the western vanguard. And vanguard is there's a whole thing about the word vanguard.
Yep.
So it is important to remember these people wanted their own land, and they can't have their own land until the return of Moses. Okay, so they're going to try and get all this to happen so they can have their own land. All right, their own country.
We mentioned that in the past where they got together and they all decided that they want to make certain things transpire that line up with what the Bible says or scriptures or scrolls or whatever they have that we've clearly don't have. To bring back, to start the process of the second coming.
Right.
So they're so arrogant. They don't even go read Matthew 24.
Right.
It's so arrogant. Anyways,
Slavic people are the Aryan or the Tartarians. Okay. Yeah. And this is why and there's a whole bunch of stuff, and we talked about all that in previous episodes. Terrorist projects for the genocide of sovereign citizens of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics called the Harvard Project and the Houston Project are created and conducted by the Zionists. The criminal civil war on the territory of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics is a terrorist project to destroy all Slavs, the multinational Russian and Soviet people. Do you see why they're trying to go after Russia so bad? The Ukraine, Luhansk and Donetsk, they actually go into that here, and how the cartel, the criminal cartel, was actually going towards that because those countries balkanized. They're Russian.
Yep.
Okay. And there's a lot. It's not to say that the concentration camps did not exist. Something existed, but
Something existed. I think it was who was in them was not what you were told. I'm sure there was some in there that the opposition to the Jews that were in opposition to whatever is happening here, I'm sure were there, and they used that as the story to go with. But there's no way there was that many.
Well, we have to look at, was that the cover story so they could get rid of some of these Tartarian Aryan people? So there's going to be collateral damage.
If you had the Tartarians, there was no need for. There would have been no need for a military. There would have been no need for firearms because of the way they set up their society.
Mm-hmm.
They had free energy, y'all. They used free energy. They had this.
So think about that. They didn't need any trusts. They didn't need any money because everything was flowing like it was supposed to.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So now almost 4 years have already passed since the lease term for the land provided to the Jews by Palestine ended. And there was no love and harmony between the Jews and the Palestinians, who were long suffering from such a brotherly neighborhood. The entire Arab Union has been subjected to criminal sacrifice by Zionism all this time. What are you watching? They wouldn't let those people in or out of Gaza.
Nope.
Okay. So people don't realize this. So we're watching all this, and it's excuse me. They're trying to get, Hamas. And it was like, no, we already talked about, and Hamas was the political party that was voted in, which played into Israel's hand.
Yep.
Okay. So now we have people, Hamas is like, go do your history and turn the shit off. It is such crap.
Yep.
Usually I don't swear on these, but this one is like,
you're fine. I don't care.
It's like, stop.
And my grandmother taught me, she's like, the only word you don't say is take the Lord's name in vain. Everything else has its own meaning. She's like, you know what? Works for me.
So the whole thing is well, we're just getting, here's this, okay, we're going to get back. You're supposed to guard your eyes and your ears.
Yep.
So it's like, we're just finding out that this is what they're saying. You already know what it's saying. Turn it off, because when you can turn away from that is when you give it less energy.
100%. And that's where it goes away.
And so dig into these, feed your soul, do something. So I digress. The fact of global terrorism and genocide in our world has also been absolutely verified and confirmed. The radical Zionists immediately allocated a financial budget for all projects to destroy light humanity, consisting of criminal, stolen, bloody, and fake fiat money, which are prohibited in the financial system. But in order to carry out these forbidden criminal transactions, the radical Zionists use the deceitful hegemony of the above criminal organizations. Here we go, kids. With the well-known control center in Washington, D.C., London City, Wall Street, the Vatican Bank, and others.
The sovereign states.
The sovereign international treasury, Monetary One, considers that it is its duty to announce to the Muslims of the world about one of the most disgusting projects of radical Zionism for the complete physical destruction of Muslims. All right, because they want to pit the Christians against the Muslims.
And yet, things like, you go talk to somebody who speaks or reads Arab and somebody who speaks and reads Hebrew, you get them together, and they will literally sit there and go, that word means the same thing. It means the same thing. Allah means God. It means, anyways.
I have Muslims that come in, they're like, you know the Quran better than most imams. I was like, because we have the same.
It's very similar.
Exactly. And that's why they come in. It's like, no, this is what we need to do. And they're like, we're supposed to, and even they say, we're all supposed to care about one another. Yeah. We're all supposed to help each other.
The whole radical Islam stuff, like that's not.
That was created by the Tavistock Institute,
which
the
is the
Stanford
Jesuit.
Research
Yeah, which is
Institute,
they're
the
talking
whole
about. Yeah.
the Royal Institute of International Affairs. I mean, it's all a bunch of fuckery.
Yep, pretty much.
Okay, so the criminal projects of these perverted psychopaths united in radical Zionism on the basis of their destructive nature will not be able to leave like humanity alone. Regardless of adherence to different types of religious denominations, territorial locations, speech forms, and skin color. Just a few weeks ago, the radical Zionists planned to organize a third world nuclear war.
Third,
Okay.
again, third. We've only had one.
Well, I wonder if this is now we're getting into semantics. The third world war, but this one will be nuclear.
Maybe it is semantics, or
or maybe it was the destruction of Tartaria. Poof.
I mean, where'd it go? You know?
I don't know.
Go ahead, keep going.
The central beginning of this global insane act of terrorism was supposed to be the joint exercises of Israel and the United States in the Middle East. Oh,
Read that one more time. The central.
The central beginning of this global insane act of terrorism was supposed to be the joint exercises of Israel and the United States in the Middle East.
Which just happened. And now we have a bill sitting on Biden's desk to renew the draft. Anyone 18 to 26 will be drafted. That just happened, by the way.
It's not going to go through.
Probably not, but it's on his desk. Anyways, go ahead.
This is going to take care of this, and this is where you have to have faith.
No, I'm not. Yeah. And they're literally going that far, is what I'm saying. I mean,
it's that crazy. Exactly. Yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, in this terrorist destructive project, it was planned to use all types of weapons of mass destruction, including nuclear, in order to destroy the Palestinians, Iranians, and Afghans.
It's the whole region.
The whole region. Poof.
Turn it all to glass.
The not destroyed neo-fascists are a big mistake of like humanity. The river of space and time. Okay, now this gets really interesting because the river of space and time, which now we'll actually tie into Tim Burton's Alice Through the Looking Glass, because she's walking on the river and space of time. All right,
not that one. Where was it? I saw the other one.
Okay, that one. I sent those. Those were posters of Tim Burton's movie that Johnny Depp was in.
Hang on. No, you sent it to me. There it is.
Yeah.
These guy.
Now, this is important. This one, that's an astrolabe that's in the background.
This guy?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
That actually can calculate space and time. Now we see psilocybin mushrooms. We have the blue monarch butterfly, and there's our rabbit, but the rabbit's clock is actually at 3 o'clock.
Interesting.
Okay.
Or 3 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
Which is different than here, which is just after.
It's 3 minutes after 9.
Yeah. Huh.
Okay.
All right, I digress. Let's get back.
Yeah, we'll get back over here. Then we'll get over to the Ingersoll Lockwood stuff, kids.
The river.
Where do we go?
The river of space.
A river of space and time has shown the light humanity what the perverted scoundrels are capable of. Now, this is important. The river of space and time has shown the light humanity what the perverted scoundrels are capable of, who, with their connivance, have escaped their just retribution. The consequences and results of this mistake are global sacrifices, torments, and sorrows of light humanity. Now, this goes back to the tribe that God instructed to have destroyed.
Which King Saul, did not destroy.
Guess what? And they keep showing up. They're supposed to be destroyed. Oh, we're not going to do it. And they keep showing up. So, all right. We also emphasize the shame that being under the criminal and bloody terrorism from the side of radical Zionism, which includes a significant part of the Jews, the criminal organization of the Jesuits, the criminal organization of the Illuminati, the Abington Lodge, headed by David and Michael Rockefeller, the Committees of 300, the Criminal Vatican for numerous facts controlled by the criminal organization of the Jesuits. So we see that it's under control, okay? Criminal neo-fascist organizations, corporations, and concerns. Contrary to reason and common sense, the unification of all countries in the world on the UN platform has forgotten and criminally keeps silent about its own decisions taken earlier to condemn and ban Zionism as an anti-peace movement and doctrine. So now they're being called out as like, UN, clean your house,
Yep.
or we'll clean it for you.
Yep.
Yep. Unfortunately, the criminals and enemies of the human world have worked. Now, listen to that. The criminals and enemies of the human world have worked out the practice of substituting concepts and distorting the image of words in order to deceive and manipulate human society. David Wynn Miller was going through all this.
Yeah, you had mentioned that where they took even like the Constitution, and it's math, appropriately worded. It's mathematical. It has to equal forwards and backwards.
Yeah. The light word Zionism actually, so the light word, the correct use of it, okay, actually means spirituality as the truth of the earthly world. The spirit means the temple for God. All this is an image of creation, but as in many of their own criminal practices, here we go, what you said, the scribes and Pharisees, perverts, perverted the sacred image of the divine word, and under its cover organized an organization of terrorists, misanthropes, and murderers.
Which is why Jesus was so direct with them, and he still tried to give them an out. He still tried to give them forgiveness. It's to show you how merciful he is. But when you die, that your time is up. At that point, your time is up. Literally, your time is up. You have freedom until then.
They've now kind of crapped all over everything, and I think they're now at the end of their rope.
They are.
And so as we're doing all this, and we'll continue on, like Jason Bashir's, I think he's right on, is that they're trying to create these frequencies so they can hide in the frequencies of fear, of apathy, because they're in that vibration and frequency. And that's why I get so adamant, like in the Telegram or anybody I work with, turn it off. You cannot be in that frequency. Well, I'm just seeing whatever. No, guard your eyes and your ears.
Yep. Right now, we got to realize the fog of war. If you've ever been out on a foggy day, I've never been on a battlefield, but I have been out hunting and other stuff. When you have a firearm in your hands, it's a little different. When you're standing there and you think you see something, you don't need to take that shot.
No.
Until you know. It's just one of those, like, because it could be someone you know and love. At the end of the day, you'll never forgive yourself. You just need to stop. You just don't know. Don't do it. Just don't do it.
You don't need to tune into Monkey Works every day. You don't need to tune into all this shit. You don't need to be.
I haven't listened to him in a while.
This is going out to some that are listening. It's like, turn these people off. It's like, oh, I got to listen to it. No, what? Yeah, take a break. I don't know. Find something else to do. Go wood carving or go to a pottery class or basket weaving. I don't know.
Get into smoking good meats.
There you go. Yum, yum, barbecue. Create some great dry rubs to go with the brisket. Okay, so radical Zionism has penetrated into all areas of management of organized being in almost all countries of the world and into global international organizations. The American Zionists, jointly with the former president of the Philippines, Ferdinand Marcos, organized an international crime in the form of a global financial fraud. And that's what started us down this rabbit hole.
It is, actually.
Okay, on the basis of which they founded the criminal hegemony of the United States in the form of Washington, D.C., and international financial organizations registered there. More details are described in the Ordinance of the Sovereign International Monetary One, number 22 of that one. So this is back behind that. That one's even crazier.
Yep.
This criminal financial activity was created and managed with the direct participation of criminal organizations, London City, Vatican, Jesuits, Illuminati, committees of 300, criminal secret organizations, pseudo-sovereigns, criminal Khazaria, dark nobility, and others. The number of these perverted psychopaths against the background of light humanity is ridiculous. One of these perverted dogmas, here we go, kids. Now pay attention.
Pay close attention to this, y'all. And just realize that things transpired, and the way this is worded is almost like someone didn't know. It's like he didn't know. By the way, I'm getting a low signal on the stream here. I'm not even streaming this right now. If we
That's
just
okay.
drop,
I've been having some weird stuff going on. I'm like, what are we got going on?
if
Yeah.
we drop, we'll pick up right here.
Okay, got it. One of these perverted dogmas was Torino Alassane Ba Joseph, ex-general manager of the Global Security Fund, Global Security Fund of the Federal Reserve System of the United States Corporation. He is also the secret chief of the FRS. He is also the curator of Donald Trump, Illuminati Romanov. He is also the thief of the profitable part of the sacred spiritual assets white spiritual boy treasures Ra. Torino Alassane Ba.
No, hold on. Not Donald Trump. Torino Alassane Ba is. So let's make sure that's. Or is he saying Donald Trump is the thief?
He is also the curator of Donald Trump. He is also
okay.
The
So this
thief.
is specifically talking about Joseph. Okay.
Yes, and he is also the thief, but he was the curator of Donald Trump.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So now here again, you guys, if you're not sure of the words, go look them up. Right now we're on a time thing, so we're not going to go into all that. Okay, so he fraudulently and unlawfully. Now this is Torino Alassane Ba Joseph. Fraudulently and unlawfully proclaimed Donald Trump, who is an Illuminati Romanov, as the head of the historical international tripartite agreement, which is a false trust, thereby falsely elevating the status of Donald Trump in the secret circles of criminal domination in our Holy Land. Okay. Occupied by perverts and liars, enemies of the people. He wanted to build right there an embassy in Jerusalem, got it all, that kind of stuff.
I wonder if the way this is worded, and I know we haven't gotten to the end of it here, but the way that it's specifically worded, it makes me kind of go that he was selected by, yes, he was an Illuminati Romanov, but he was selected by this other person.
He was also the curator, so we have him as a curator.
So he was selected curating. He was curating Trump, right?
Mm-hmm.
He selected Trump and falsely put him in charge of this thing and used Trump to do these things. Was Trump used by the bad guys, or was yeah, keep going.
Is getting the plot thickens, doesn't it?
There's always another side to every coin.
Exactly. So it's to really start digging in here because there's something, but we don't know what. And maybe we're not supposed to know because we know not the hour of anything. We're not supposed to know because once we know, it's done.
Yep.
All right. So perverts, enemies of the people, the sovereign nation by order number 25 canceled and banned all financial trusts for eternal times, as a result of which Mr. Donald Trump can only earn any status by service, faith, and truth before the people of America and the whole world. So that's why he did not take a paycheck as president. He had to be in service.
So he's
been banned, canceled, boom.
So it sounds like, they talk about Nasar Jasar here. Wow. So it sounds like he was unlawfully selected, unlawfully put in charge, and because of that, he's now doing the actions and he's paying his penance.
This is penance. If he does not fulfill his penance, it's
yep,
not good.
So they have him by the short hairs, which in a way isn't a bad thing. Anyways, I'm putting this together right now.
The criminal plans of the radical Zionist dogma, Torino Alassane Ba Joseph, consisted of a nationwide deception set out in various promotions. This is important. In various promotions with a beautiful wrapper like Nasara and Gassara and the quantum financial system. Now, Cliff High is correct on this.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I bet you Cliff found this for what it's worth. If I had to guess, Cliff has found all this.
Well, this isn't that old though.
It doesn't matter. The tools and stuff that he's built.
Oh, that's true. He's like
I
super
haven't.
geek.
No, well, I've never met him. I've never spoken to him, but I am an engineer, and the things he has described that he has done and built. From my technical background, I could very quickly put some things together and go, yeah, you probably know certain things already, the outcomes of things, and he's just keeping his mouth shut to protect his own self. And he's letting things out at a specific timing so that way nobody gets hurt, including him.
And that's a really wise thing. You have to think about there's a
Yeah.
great deal of wisdom going into these
Yeah.
documents for them to drop. And here again, for our little divine guidance and how everything fell together here. So this truly is divine. So
the QFS.
yes,
So all that stuff
QFS.
is a bunch of baloney.
It's
And that's one of
baloney.
the things I'm like, for me, it's always been like, I don't know. I could see that happening, but I don't know how. And then finding this, I was like, well, that could be how, but this has nothing to do with that. This has nothing to do with that at all. But they're canceling out the old system. Yeah, but financially that cancels everything. But also the other, anyways.
So, yeah. So basically, y'all in Telegram, whoever's listening to this, the Sargassar and the QFS, it's garbage.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Garbage.
Yep.
Stop promoting it. Stop putting posts up. Here's the thing. All right. I'm just going to do a disclaimer now. Y'all put stuff up about Nassar and Gassara and the QFS. I will take it down.
Fair
It
enough.
is garbage. It is false advertising. And it's just blah. Okay.
Yep.
Now you can see the truth. All right.
Yep.
Quantum is the light technology of our universe, and it will never work under the control of criminals and perverts. According to the criminal plans of, we'll call him just Joseph, Donald Trump's curator, the terrorists plan to drive bright humanity into digital control, destroying the divine generic system of the family, produce humanoid creatures with artificial technologies from test tubes, while the perverts hide behind the sacred name of the bright prophet as Isa and Jesus.
Interesting, y'all. So there you have it. I would believe this more honestly than the QFS stuff, mainly because they're daggum using legal documents to put this information out.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to simply understand what the borders mean on the documents, what the specific underlying marks mean, what the daggum signature inside of the seal means. And then
And
down
there's
here,
even their UN numbers.
And they're tying it into, they're registering these documents very specifically, very precisely in a legal manner that cannot be, I shouldn't be getting any signal drops. If this, I'm literally recording this. It's not even streaming.
I know, that's what's really funny. So yeah, we're so over the target. And here they're talking about Jesus. Okay. Now, and some call them prophets, whatever. But this is really serious about light humanity. Investigating the degrees and levels of perversions and crimes of humanoid beings. Okay. They're going into humanoid beings that have penetrated and infiltrated the light human society. Sometimes you come to a state of horror, realizing that pain and suffering of human caused by these filthy beings.
So is this otherworldly, demonic, or is this clones? Or what they call designer babies that turn into designer people?
Humanoid would be hybrids, clones. Yeah, I would say hybrids and clones.
Okay.
That's just my kind of take on things. In
Right.
pursuance of the all heavenly providence of God and the all heavenly great divine providence, on the basis of the foregoing and sovereign international treasury monetary one, fulfilling the sacred mission and fulfilling the sacred duty to the bright humanity as a single people of the world, by the right of the supreme sovereign, by the right of ownership of all the world assets, by the right chief regulator of the world financial system, decides, this is big, one, to recognize outside the divine laws of creation and outside the law any perverted forms of Zionism directed against the light humanity and nature, except for the real path of spiritual development to the knowledge of the divine truth according to the divine laws of creation. Two, recognize outside the divine laws of creation and outside the law any forms, technologies, including the quantum financial system project. Okay, they notice project, financial emissions, and any means of payment in the world financial system and in the entire world space, with the exception of those forms, technologies, including the quantum financial system project of financial emissions and means of payment which are officially accepted and officially authorized by the sovereign international treasury monetary one as the owner of all the world assets and the chief regulator of the world financial system, and in accordance with the recommendations of the International Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, Basel Standard 3, as well as the resolutions of the sovereign international treasury monetary one secured by system balanced banking gold, which is XAU, in the form of monetary one emissions, XAU, real money in the form of treasury bills of the sovereign international treasury monetary one in paper and electronic form, with mandatory verification and confirmation of the sovereign international treasury monetary one according to the official instructions of the sovereign international monetary one. So they still have some electronic stuff. So there's something that's percolating here, but
I wonder if the whole quantum financial system is in fact real, but it cannot be utilized in the way that they're talking, which is one of the things Cliff High says. It's
yes,
complete bullshit. It's just like,
Mhm.
yeah, but yes.
Exactly. So yes, and so that's why I'm saying all this other stuff, because people in their limited capacity are like, oh well, blah blah blah. It's like, no, it's like these videos out there. Oh well, JP Morgan Chase, and that's the largest bank, and I was like, no, it's not. You don't even know what you're talking about.
It's
Okay,
one
but
of many.
they're parroting things because it's just
Well, it's just like
okay.
people say that Elon Musk is one of the richest men in the world. Yeah, no, he's not.
No,
Not even
he's not.
close.
Uh-uh.
Not even
Nope.
close.
Mm-mm.
All these people you think that's come on Forbes, whatever, richest, whatever, not even close. The guy who owns Forbes, who owns that guy, then who owns that guy, maybe, but you will never see that name.
No, I always tell people it's the nosebleed section of the nosebleed section of the nosebleed section. You got to go up a couple.
Just a wee bit.
Yeah. So 3, prohibit and recognize outside the divine laws and of creation and outside the law any forms and types of organizations aimed at creating and cultivating aggression and hostility in the human society that violate human rights and the divine of creation, painfully and criminally affecting the right of light humanity to harmonious development according to the divine laws of creation. For such crimes, criminals should be punished with the supreme punishment.
I wonder what that is. Is that death? Well, yeah, sure, here physically, but what about their spirit?
That's
What
the
about their
second
soul?
death.
Right? Is that the supreme punishment?
Yes.
Okay.
And Jesus said, fear not the first death. You should fear the second death.
Yep.
Okay. That's complete obliteration.
Well, that's where, like, that's why, you know, people struggle with the scripture that talks about how he created those for the day of doom. Well, they disobeyed.
You know,
They disobeyed, and they knew they did. Like, you read the book of Enoch, the angels that came here, they took an oath amongst themselves. They knew what they were doing. They knew what their destruction was going to be. Absolute destruction, like gun destruction.
Yeah. So they're probably just kind of going, hey, we're going to go out with a bang. I was like, why?
Pretty much, kind of. That's why we have this like this. And I think that's who's behind all of this. But anyways.
Right. So 4. In pursuance to the order, all international and country counterterrorism and legal organizations, all military organizations, to all, looks like they're going through a lot of the same litany in the ending as the previous document. To all missionaries, yep. The all creator, bring light and knowledge to the world, immediately start to implement this order in terms of its full implementation. Sovereign International Treasury Monetary 1 firmly confirms its statement and in the future impartial and correct fulfillment its light mission to restore justice and build an all light, all heavenly system which should and will in faith and trust serve the right humanity and therefore all God, all creator. So it's the same litany that it ended with on the previous document.
So you still have
all these seals.
Now remember, this is Malta, Knights of Malta. You gotta remember, this is very interesting stuff. So you had this one. So we did 26, 25, 26, and then you wanted to go back to 24, which was a whole, looks like a scroll or
That's a whole nother scroll. Yeah. But didn't we just do this one?
Not 24. This is a 10, not 24. We haven't touched 24.
Oh my God. Yeah. This is like,
we can do this one next time.
We'll have to do this one next time because we really should get into the Ingersoll Lockwood before people start losing their minds.
All right. So let's jump into there. Let's see. What did you send me before?
Well, it started out, people were like, oh, so there was the first where it was just this little fuzzy, and it ended up being that first image, which was
the rabbit.
But it was a fuzzy hole before. It wasn't a rabbit. And so
it's going to check me.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one we already have.
Right. So it was the very first image that I sent you.
So this guy.
Nope.
Or this guy.
That one. Now, this one, there's interpretations out there. And there was one I was like, you know what? I'm going to let it up so y'all can just, get yourself all worked up. And it was people like, oh, look, it's the end of the world. It's the hour of our death. I was like, no, because if you look, y'all, why don't you go listen to the Rosary? There's a reason why Marianne Van Hoof, when she wrote her books in the 50s and 70s, and the Divine Mother, the Queen Mother came in and says, pray the Rosary, because there's all these mysteries and things that go into praying the Rosary. And it really reveals a lot, because I started digging into that when I got into this. So all of this is coming together in this very divine way. But this image, so people are just all jacked up about the image. And it's like, look at the clock. So I said, well, first of all, I'm looking at it. Well, the hourglass in the middle is not a clock. Those are buildings that are in a circle. That's not a clock face. Okay?
Well, that's true. That is interesting. Okay.
Okay, it's not a clock face. And so people are like, oh, well, we got 23 and Michael Jordan. It was like, no. And I'm sitting there looking at this going, yeah, that looks like an airplane, doesn't it? Kind of like, yeah.
It is an airplane.
Mm-hmm.
What's the image behind it?
Almost reminds me of Batman.
Kind of does, yeah.
It's kind of like funny. I
wonder what this is. If I could...
There's a lot of layering in here, so it would take somehow, so if you had the technology to
I probably could find it.
But we're looking at, if you look at, then we have the top hat, which is very similar to an astrolabe, okay? In that original Alice Through the Looking Glass. But this is kind of a steampunkish kind of hat. So we're looking at Antiquitech. All right?
Yep.
Now, the interesting thing is, then you got the Jordans, and we got Disney, the Mickey Mouse. Okay. So we got 11:03, quarter after 11. And so we're 16 something. All right. And so we have this, and I'm looking, and I'm kind of like, well, that's interesting, because the rabbit seems to be urinating. So I was like, oh, is the rabbit pissed? But we have this interesting thing, and it's coming up in the middle of the road. And we have a white feather, a blue feather. But I'm looking at this going, everybody's looking at this image. Look at the URL and read the URL to me.
So it's ingersolllockwood.com. Then it's wp-content/upload/2023/10/TikTok gym time over 45 47 04 10 20 17 17. And you had mentioned earlier the gym time over
for DJT, Donald J. Trump, Q++. Gym time's over. It's going to be go time.
Yeah, here we go. So that's interesting that showed up on this website.
Okay, so Ingersoll Lockwood's been kind of quiet because I've been following it. I just go in and peek every once in a while. Then that image went away, and there was
This
an
one's
actual
there now.
rabbit. Well,
Yeah.
no, the thing that came up was the Michael Jordan video. Okay,
So
that's
this
when
thing, yeah.
Now the thing is, it's not so much about Jordan and James.
LeBron.
It's about the greatest of all time criteria, accomplishments, longevity, winning statistics, and the eye test. Okay, what do you see? And so we're looking at this whole thing about accomplishments, longevity, winning statistics. And so that's where I'm thinking there's all kinds of stuff that's going on in this video. And so take from it what you will.
We'll post. Did you already post it out there?
No, I haven't had a chance. Okay. I was kind of just getting everything so we could prepare for tonight.
Okay.
Or this after, whatever time it's going to be.
Yep.
And then that video went down. So they've been really about following the White Rabbit. So then that went away and you clicked on, I added that one. So the White Rabbit, then you clicked on this and this image came up. Now we look at, and I can't see that.
It says something. I can't make it out.
Exactly. But it almost reminded me of American Tales, Fievel the Mouse.
Looks like there's an angel or a picture of God here.
Well, somebody who's been kind of a sleuther was kind of like, are they trying to put Jesus in there or something? But yeah. And so we do have something that is embedded in there. And we have lightning hitting the clock. And this is where then it goes to, it's alluding to that Michael Jordan. Okay. So time. But if but I'm going, no, gym time's over. And we're looking at the criteria.
This one's tippy top here. This one's TikTok. So IL tick 11 talk 3 and then tippy top tip 1717.
Tippy top Q++.
Interesting.
Tick 11 talk 3. So we
11-3 confirms 11-3. What is it? Today's the 31st. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it's...
And look at, we have Mickey Mouse 11-3. All right. Now, and here again, I'm looking at the video as to the criteria to be the greatest of all time. We're looking, if you look at, I'm totally into steampunk. So that's why I'm looking at this hack on. You could have that be like some sort of astrolabe or walking through the rivers of time and space, because steampunk is Tartaria. Okay. Now you have the rabbit. Some would maybe perhaps interpret that as a Durham boat.
Interesting. Okay.
But I thought of the mouse and I was like, well, I wonder, American Tales, which has to do with Russian mice leaving Russia and coming to America, and it's a game of cat and mouse.
That's an interesting, I forgot about that one. And then it's a Disney one too.
Uh-huh. So we've got some Disney stuff here. So I'm just
I found out the other day that and I know this because it's pretty much directly from the source. As far as Disney is concerned, that there's a Christian American businessman somehow has now bought enough controlling shares of Disney that he is now firing the CEO, cleaning house, and adding people and removing people from the board of directors and adding people to controlling of the entire firm.
Go back to the other video. Go back to the other image. think about the Batman movies. What did Batman do at the end?
He
Bruce Wayne.
he did. It's been so long. I don't remember.
What happened is in the newest ones is he came back because they thought he was dead, right?
Yeah,
They
he
did all
came
this stuff,
back.
and he had straw men going in and buying everything, and he came back in and went, "We're cleaning house.
Yeah, I bet that.
Time's up. It's over. Tick tock."
Oh, wow, I could see that. That for what it's worth. I have been hearing has been happening for all kinds of businesses across the daggum country, really around the world. And I would bet you that it comes back to these stupid resolutions we're reading, and they're going through because the Jesuits and whoever else they've gone in and bought up all these things,
And they
and
can't
now
because they're revoking the bonds, they're revoking everything, and they're coming up from underground. Boof. Guess who's coming to the party?
that's interesting. How that would make sense for that. That looks like
It does, doesn't it? Because I was like, what if? And I've been playing with, I love the what if game. It's kind of like, well, huh. And it's just the whole thing because it's more of an hourglass.
I also like to look off in the sides of the pictures.
Oh, yeah. Because if you look at those are like old world buildings.
They really are.
Okay. And so there's a lot going on in this photo or this illustration.
Yeah, if that's a Batman, that would make sense. I don't know why the whole Disney mountains. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And
But that makes sense because wasn't Disney or Pixar behind Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass?
I want to say yeah. I don't
Okay,
know.
if it was, then that's starting to show because we're going to start doing things because who was the biggest influencer of our youth? Disney.
Yeah.
Okay. And Disney was very clear. If you want to create loyalty to a brand, here's how you're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So now, if we look at the whole Ingersoll Lockwood site, that site has gotten a little busy because they actually have time travel in there.
Yeah, I haven't even gone through it today or anything else. It's just like all of a sudden, just everything's different now. You guys remember when we went over the website many shows back? Everything that's red is a hyperlink, whatever. Funds, like we pulled that up earlier, and I'll go ahead and pull this up now.
Mm-hmm.
See all this right here? It brings you up to the U.S. debt clock.
But
you go look
click
into
on that little button.
Yeah, real quick, go look into who owns the U.S. debt clock and what they're noted for. And then there's this. This is the secret window thing for tonight. Bring it up here. Go right ahead, Sharon.
The government should create, issue, and circulate all the currency and credits needed to satisfy the spending power of the government and the buying power of consumers. By the adoption of these principles, the taxpayers will be saved immense sums of interest. Money will cease to be a master and become the servant of humanity. The money power preys upon the nations in times of peace and conspires against it in times of adversity. It is more despotic than monarchy, more insolent than autocracy, more selfish than bureaucracy.
And it says the Battle of Williamsburg down here at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a seal of some sort there.
And that is a very unusual seal. And look at the colors because that is bright. Those are the colors of
Light.
bright humanity.
Interesting. There's
In
a green
color
back here.
right. In color puncture, we call those the soul spirit colors.
Sure.
And yes, those are your greenbacks. Now look at the angel, Archangel Michael, striking down Satan.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot going on here. And that's on the little button, the little, click here secret button. Okay. Now we have some generals that are in the corners. Pick that up. Wait a minute. Those are, make that big again. The generals in the corners.
I can't tell who they are. But they're pre-World War I.
No. One of those is Spadovich.
Which one? This one?
Yeah, the one in the blue. That's Spadovich. Which means the other one is going to be somehow, because it's in white, that could be, I want to say maybe that's going to be another Slavic or Russian. But that photo right there, that's Spadovich. That is what we've talked about the secret government. That's his picture.
Okay, I did not know that.
That's why I was like, I had to look at it. I was like, wait a minute. That's why I recognize it. And if I'm off, I'm off. But that is his picture. So we're getting into all of these things that we've been going into. That's really good. So for us, like, just read. It's here. So yeah, and there's more. Like, oh my God. There's just so much.
This whole website is loaded with stuff like this, y'all. Now I gotta have to. This brings it to Twitter. I don't know what I clicked A. Okay, so this brings back the thing you sent me.
The calm before the storm. And so shout out to Greg. He was like sending me some stuff today. And I was like, what is that? And he goes, I think those are 50 cal rounds.
They are.
I was like,
there's
I want to know what
this that is a 50 cal round.
Mm-hmm. And then
we invest in something. Okay, Angel.
So they're still letting you know about the human trafficking. I think the C.
There's a period here.
Oh yeah, that one.
General Flynn.
That's General Flynn's.
IQT. We went over.
I think those are just those are the organizations.
Yep.
And there's something about that IQT because it's embedded in a number of hyperlinks.
It is.
So there's something very unique. Oh, this is for that place in Antarctica.
If it loads.
So it shows an actual opening to something in Antarctica.
Mm-hmm. We showed it before.
Okay, will it take us? Oh yeah, it's gonna take you there. We just got to get that thing out of there.
If it'll move, yeah.
So there's that opening. And so they're letting you know that there is something
in Antarctica.
Now, what's important, there's a link here that's going to take you to the Navy site.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Is that the C? There's a period under basis there too. No, Pride. There's a period. Pride has one too. At the end of Pride.
I did. That's where I was. I just
okay. So then look
at that was the dash.
One. Then there's cases. I think the dash. Yeah, that's that video that we showed.
The video, yeah.
Yeah. So we've seen that. It's the period under bases at the end of bases on a case by case basis.
There's this right here too.
Okay.
Oh wait, this.
Yep.
Federal Registry.
Now here is the executive order.
Sanctions. This is what we referenced a minute ago.
Mm-hmm. So y'all get yourself that one printed off. Read it.
There's another one here.
This right here. Now this is really, really like, y'all get a hold of this one. Copy the site. Scroll through this one. Now look, inert mass inertia. God, listen to me. Inertial mass reduction device. A craft using an inertial mass reduction device. This is all your so-called flying spaceships. The freaking Navy has them, kids. Piezoelectric. Okay, we use piezo things in esogetic color puncture because you want to use, and it's just quartz. Here's the thing. Oh God, and it was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
So if you're using quartz and you're using mass reduction.
So piezo is when quartz crystals hit each other, they create an electric shock.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., there's one episode where they didn't want diamonds. They go into a jewelry store and they're looking for stones. They're like, oh, you want diamonds? They're like, no, we don't want those. They're worthless. They're like, what? Yeah, we don't want those. And then somebody saw quartz and they're like, that's what we want. They're like, you want those? Those aren't worth anything. They're like, you have no idea. Quartz crystals do more than what people realize. I had a friend I used to ride Harleys with. This guy is so crazy smart military. He actually programmed quartz crystals.
Yeah, you can program them. You can do that. You can do it with diamonds now too, but it's a lot easier with quartz.
Well, let me say.
Don't ask me how I know.
He would go to Asia with the chips that he programmed, surrounded with the thing on his wrist.
Mm.
And when he got to the facility, he couldn't see where he was going. They let him into the room, took everything off. He had to install it, and then they walked him back out. He never got to know where he was.
That's crazy.
Uh-huh. I was like, and you're still here? He goes, yeah. He's the one that looked at me and goes, you know, the Masons let women in. I was like, hey, let's go for a ride.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, so they have all the tech, and so
Yeah,
all
high
this,
frequency gravitational wave generator. I mean, yo, guys, come on.
and so you're sitting there like, oh my god, there's aliens, they're doing congressional. I was like, turn the shit off.
Go fast, WMV.
Right? So all of it's right here.
I'm
They
not.
have it
I'm not.
all.
I'm not pulling that down on this
No,
box.
yeah, this is like you can get all these documents. Just say, you guys get on there because they're going to be changing stuff out like crazy fast.
So that was this period right here. No.
Mhm.
Yes. So
And then
we've got
there's
a
like,
period here.
yep. Oh, this is the Durham document. This is crazy. This one, I was like, OMG. This goes to Merrick Garland. It's Durham. It's just like, oh, yeah.
Yep. Social Counsel Durham. Subject is Attorney Merrick Garland. All
Has
right,
to do with the
so
elections.
That's this one.
Mm-hmm.
There's an S here. This is the Abraham Accords.
Yep. And y'all print out, learn about the Abraham Accords.
We went over. We did a show over those.
Yep. Now, what's interesting, once we get through here, we're going to go up to the menu up top.
So productive. So this is Cithriel. We went over this one.
Mm-hmm.
There's
A.
Secure. A was too.
Mm-hmm.
Consystems.
Oh yeah, this is the guidance. Yeah, so there's the A
A
attachment. Attachments.
Oh yeah,
we do
yeah.
not. Yep.
So this was.
Oh yeah, so that was okay. I wanted to make sure we had the link because before stuff disappeared off of it.
So then you have this white rabbit over here, which people have been coming back to it, and it's changing.
Yep.
So let's see if it's changed between the time that we been on here or not. And it's taking a while to load. Nope, it has not.
So now the library is also what's interesting because their library has expanded, which I found very interesting. Okay, so they've added, what is it? Wonderful deeds and doings of little giant Boab and his talking raven, and extraordinary experiments of little Captain Doppelkop on the shores of Bubble Land. Okay. So there's some new reading here.
There's an adventure of Little Baron Trump.
And his little dog Bulger. So they've added
some journey.
They also added in, if I like, homework. Victory Garden for Bees. Yeah, there's homework that was Enoch. So that's the Book of Enoch. Books. So they have the books. There's multiple.
There's 3 different versions.
They're different. Yep. The books. So y'all get those. You can just download and print them.
I have those. I've read them many times.
Yeah. And then they have all these things on gardening.
Which is very interesting. We should do that. Non-toxic farming handbook. Yeah.
And so now there's another interesting thing under. Nope, that's just got music videos. Is it portfolio?
There's links here.
Yeah, those have to do with organizations that they have. God, where was that? Is that under history? Our namesake. Nope. It is. There's nothing there. How news? No. No. Insights. There's something that was different. There it is. They're insights. So if we look at Ingersoll Lockwood's focus on these 10 key areas in business with a long-term business plan. Now, this was new: life, defend and extend, land, carbon negative technology, water, clean H2O technology, air, reverse pollution, speed, travel, defend against unclean air, fuel, clean and nearly limitless. Solar is just the beginning. Space, unleash next gen technology, faster, more efficient. Computing, cybersecurity and cyber defense, communications, secure communications, education, threat defense, training, entertainment. Wholesome, using 1 through 9 above. So this wholesome entertainment goes back to what you were saying, and what their image was, kind of like a Batman getting a hold of these corporations and saying, you slimy little bugs, bye-bye.
Yep. I kind of wonder if that's what they've been doing. All of it.
Mm-hmm. And so,
I mean, why is there a writer's strike? Why is all the actors on strike? They're not on strike. They're under arrest.
there you go. So there's a lot of things happening, and as we go deeper into these resolutions, and there's even decrees that, y'all, please just stop posting the stupid crap. Just take a break from it. The banks are going to be fine. The ones that go bye-bye are meant to, because they are so corrupt and so slimy. They weren't supposed to be there in the first place. And none of us know what the new system is going to be like, because it's being prepared for us.
Right.
And like Cliff High, if nothing else, watch some of Cliff High stuff about the QFS. And what is he gets all upset with? Was it Charlie Ward?
Ward, yeah.
Or Simon Parks or something to talk. We're going to have all this.
Both
it was like
both of them. At the end of the day, they're looking at it from one perspective, and he's looking at it from this perspective. This is more legal, realistic, whatever you want to call it, rather than someone just arbitrarily saying, I've been told blah, blah, blah. Yeah, by who?
Exactly. And it's like these whole people, oh, my intel from who? Well, it's my intel. Really? You're just going through some stuff. But here, the whole goal for us doing this is, y'all, we put documents in front of you. We show you
where to go get it yourself.
And it's never going to be my intel, because you know what? You can tell those people to piss off.
Pretty much.
Sorry. I'm just kind of done with that stuff.
You know, I looked into their stuff. They're all over the place with different things. They've brought different pieces to the table. They make sense, but they also don't. They don't hold water. I mean, they kind of do, but it's leaking water.
Well, isn't that the whole thing of, you know, to give people just enough truth, and then you can fill it full of a bunch of bullshit?
Yeah. If this isn't true, fine, tell us. If you find holes in it, tell us. But I mean, they're swinging at everyone, y'all. They're even swinging at Trump, which is, everyone's like, yeah, hey, Trump, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah.
It's all right out of the Tavistock Institute.
It sounds like he got trapped into a system himself.
You know, when you start, you know, one of my mentors in a lot of the different trainings that I've been in over the years, she told me, when you dance with the devil, he changes you. You don't change him.
He's not going to change.
No. So don't think for a minute that you can go in there and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, you will come out
different. I mean, the stuff, like I've mentioned before, the things I've seen, you change, and it's not good. I mean, at the end of the day, I learned those things and saw those things, and I feel like because of now, I can see why now. I have had various different things happen at church where people are like, why is this happening? Why it's going on? And I'm like, well, this is why. I'm able to say why, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was by the grace of God. I wasn't strong enough. He brought me through that, you know? Did you go to a dark place? It changes you.
Oh yeah.
Just being around, just seeing the evil, not necessarily going and trying to change things or trying to do stuff or struck a deal or whatever. Just seeing it, y'all. It isn't a joke. It is real.
And
Wow.
it's heart-wrenching sometimes.
That doesn't even cut it.
It's
Your soul will hurt. It
Mhm,
goes deeper than your heart.
mhm.
Your soul
Mhm.
hurts. But anyways, we'll
So
go
that
there.
was almost
Right.
2 hours. This was a
No,
marathon
it is
session,
gonna be
y'all.
2 hours, y'all. What in the world did I just do?
I don't know. You gave some balloons. Woohoo!
I didn't touch anything. I don't know why that went. Okay.
I don't know. The
Right.
universe is going balloons, kids celebrate. You just pulled it off. I don't know. But we'll just wrap it up with there. So
Yep.
we'll just all say goodnight. Or
See y'all
bye-bye.
later. Take it easy, and I will be
See you.
right back. If I push the right buttons. All right, there we go. There we go. All right. See y'all later.